Today we're going to look at identifying elements that are necessary for implementing change in an organization, and this is a very effective way. It's effective because it looks at the human side of implementing change. This process was developed by Chip and Dan Heath, and they capitalize on the fact that our minds are ruled by two different systems, the rational and the emotional mind. I've used this approach a couple times in practice and have found it extremely helpful. So let's take a look at this powerful model. University of Virginia psychologist Jonathan Haidt said in his book, The Happiness Hypothesis, that our emotional side is like an elephant and our rational side is like a rider. Sitting on top of the elephant, the rider is holding the reins and seems to be in control of that elephant. But at any time that 5-ton elephant disagrees with the rider, well, we know who's going to win that one. The rider is completely and utterly outmatched. So our goal is to align these two minds and set the direction for them to complete their journey successfully. So let's start with the rational mind, the rider. The rider uses logic and data and likes to know why and where things are going, in what direction, wants clarity. The second thing it wants to know is what's working. When the organization is, find out what's working in the organization. Look at the various departments, processes that are successful, analyze why it's successful, and then use that part of the success in other parts of the organization to help make change. The second part is to chunk down the process. Do it in small steps. Don't think of the big picture. Think of the smaller behaviors, the steps that need to be met in order to get the goal. And then the last one for the rider is know what the ultimate goal is. Change is easier when you know where you're going and why it's worth it. The elephant. The elephant is the emotional mind, and it can be tricky, finicky, skittish, looking for that quick and easy payoff, and can be very, very powerful. So what we have to do here is find the connecting feeling. Knowing something that is not enough to cause change for the elephant. You have to make people feel something. There needs to be a connection, a connecting feeling with that change. Then, like the rider, you have to break down the change into smaller units. Otherwise, the elephant gets spooked. And then lastly, finding ways to grow your people, cultivating a sense of identity, instilling learning and exploring. So we get that emotional feeling that goes through. And then lastly, we have to develop a path. We shape the path. And that is simply by tweaking the environment. When the situational changes, the behavior changes, so change the situation. And this can be as simple as changing the way a person reacts to bad news. So let's say for the company wants to improve quality of its products. If whenever the supervisor hears bad news, such as we will not make our production goals today because we had to shut it down to take care of a quality issue, and reacts with venting, yelling, finger, trying to figure out who to blame, do you think production is going to stop again? I guess not, and the quality issue is not going to be addressed. So the company will continue to make less and less perfect products, and the quality problem will persist. Change the reaction of the supervisor, and you change the environment. The next one is to build habits. When the behavior is habitual, it doesn't tax the rider. It just automatically happens. And so we look for ways to change those habits. Think of the thumb activity that we did earlier, that when we placed the other thumb on top of the one we normally did, if we practiced it long enough, we'd get comfortable with it. And then lastly, bring the group together. Behavior is contagious, helps it spread, and keeps people accountability. So those are the three aspects. And so now let's put these concepts together using a simple but familiar situation. Situation is this: the ultimate goal is to eat healthier and lose weight. And what we're going to do is we're not going to eat our favorite Monster chocolate chip cookie. Not only that, if we go to the store, we're always hungry and we crave that cookie. So for the rider knows the goal: to eat healthier, to lose weight, and to not eat that cookie. That cookie is loaded with empty calories, 250, and what that means is an additional 20 minutes on the treadmill. It has all kinds of butter and sugar and chocolate in it, and it's not going to do anything to help meet that goal. Remember, the goal is I want to eat healthier because I can lose weight and feel better. The elephant, the emotional side, what it's going to say is, it's only 20 minutes on the treadmill, and I can do that easily. And I'm big and strong, and it's just one cookie, and it tastes oh so good and satisfying. And I am oh so hungry, it will help me out. One cookie's not going to hurt, not one bit. And then the path. I'm hungry and I'm in the store. I've always bought that cookie whenever I come to this store. And here I am at this night. So now we have the rider and the elephant in conflict, and the path is not helping at all. The rider understands the logic and the reason for not eating the cookie, and having a banana would make much more sense, but the emotional elephant wants that cookie. It's satisfying and hungry. And you know, a banana is not nearly as satisfying as a Monster chocolate chip cookie. So this internal fight goes on. And it can go on for some time, where you go and you pick up the cookie and you set it back down, and you pick it back up and you set it down. You walk away and you come back and forth. But unfortunately, you're probably going to eat the cookie. So now let's make a couple tweaks to the situation. And first one with the path, because that's the easiest to do. First with the path, don't go to the store hungry. Simple for that part. Set yourself up for little mini successes. For the rider, add more new details. Because remember, it's pretty vague, that losing weight and eating healthy. So now we have specifics. What's a time frame? What is a food plan? What are the goals of eating weight and healthy? The rider has a hard time committing to something that's vague. So add some even more specifics to the goal. Chunk it down into processes. So maybe it is, I won't eat a cookie this time that I come through. Or I won't eat a cookie for 6 days, and on the 7th day I'll have my cookie. Whatever works for you. So we have to then find ways to reward that rider when it's made those little milestones, such as 6 days without a cookie and eating the cookie on the 7th day. For the elephant, we need to chunk it down as well. This time, let's go without buying a cookie at the store, and we'll buy a cookie next time. And now the rider and the elephant might still argue. Not going to say that won't happen, but once there's more logic and details, the rider has more control. And so now we can look at demonstrating some of the successes that we have. No matter how small, if you go home and you don't eat the cookie that day, say congratulations to yourself. And once we've had a few more successes, the behaviors of not going to the store hungry, not eating the cookie, become the norm, and helps you travel to the end of the goal. That's how we implement change.